Meanwhile, as a number of polls have shown Donald Trump locked in a tight race with President Biden in a potential 2020 rematch, our next guest argues Biden's 2024 chances are much stronger than people realize. That's coming from Democratic strategist Simon Rosenberg. Simon joins us now. Simon, it's great to have you on. I'd be fascinated to hear your case for this. As you know, there is a lot of consternation out there among Democrats about the possibility of Donald Trump returning to the White House. They worry about the strength of Joe Biden as a candidate this time around. I would point out that you were one of the few people around the 2022 midterm elections who said very clearly in the days and weeks leading up, there's not going to be a red wave. Don't listen to the commentary. You were looking at the voting, the way people were voting on abortion referendums across the country, for example. So what are you seeing in 2024 that tells you that Joe Biden is a lot stronger than people are giving him credit for?
I think the case is simple, Willie, which is that Joe Biden has been a good president. The country is better off. The Democratic Party is strong and winning elections all over the country. And the Republicans have Trump. And Trump, I think, is the most disgraced, degraded, and dangerous presidential candidate in our history. And when I look at all that in every way possible as we head into 2024, I would much rather be us than them.
And so, Simon, you point actually back to COVID, which I thought was fascinating. We're talking about things like the economy and abortion and immigration, all these front and center issues. Why do you think COVID actually will be important here?
Well, I think the central promise of Biden in 2020 was that he was going to get us through COVID and get us to the other side successfully. That's really what the election was litigated on when you look back at polling and look at the election in 2020. And I think on that central promise, Joe Biden has been successful. He did what he said he was going to do. I mean, our economic recovery here in the United States is stronger than any other G7 country in the world. We have the best job market in almost 60 years. Prices are now falling. By every objective measure, we're doing really well as a country, and we should be proud of that, by the way. We together as a nation got through a very difficult period in our history, but we are on the other side of it now. And I think Joe Biden is going to be able to argue that, you know, you gave me one big job to do. I did it. We've come out the other side, and we're much stronger for it. And so I feel like we have a very strong case for re-election. I think Joe Biden has been a good president. I don't know how you sell Donald Trump and dress him up to be a credible and serious candidate for president, given all that he's done, all that he said, and all the things that he said he's going to do. So I feel good, as I did in 2022. I feel good about where we are. We have a lot of work to do, of course. I mean, this is not a slam dunk in any way. But we should win the election next year, and I'm very optimistic about our chances.
And then, of course, there is the question of abortion, which has been such an important factor in elections since the Dobbs decision a year and a half ago. And not, by the way, just in Democratic states, in red states. You know, you look at the referendum in Ohio, you look at what happened in Nebraska, the Virginia State House, and on and on and on. So how important do you think abortion will be in determining who the next president is?
It's going to be very significant. It's one of the most important issues in the country, certainly. And remember, Willie, we did really well as Democrats in 2018 and 2020. But since Dobbs in the spring of 2022, when we were supposed to be performing poorly as parties in power in the off-year elections and the midterm elections usually fade and the other party gains, the exact opposite has happened, right? We actually had a great 2022 election. We gained a Senate seat. We gained state legislative chambers. We improved our standing in most of the major and important battleground states in the country. And that strong performance then has carried over all through 2023. We had a blue wave in 2023. We won elections all over the country. And so since Dobbs has happened, the Democratic Party has been winning where we weren't supposed to win. We've been raising tons of money. We have the most powerful and intense grassroots operations that we've ever seen. People are rising up. And it's why I think that that winning streak and that heightened Democratic performance, I think will carry over to 2024.
And as we've shown many times on this show, Donald Trump on tape again and again taking credit for the Dobbs decision because he put those 3 justices on the Supreme Court could come back to haunt him. Simon, let me ask you about a question that Steve Kornacki showed us yesterday. Really is front and center on voters' minds. Democrats, too, by the way, and that is the age of the sitting president of the United States. It may be uncomfortable to talk about. It may not be something that the Biden campaign wants to focus on, but it's there. How significant do you think that will be?
Listen, it's an issue, and we can't run away from it. I mean, it's part of the discourse. It's part of what Joe Biden is going to be talking about. But I think we have to recognize that age is not just a liability, that with age comes experience and wisdom and capability. And it's possible that in a time of insurrection and COVID and global inflation and supply chain challenges, the war in Ukraine, that having the most experienced president to ever enter the Oval Office was a blessing for this country rather than a problem. I mean, we are in a choppy time. Wouldn't you rather have the guy that's been there for 50 years, who's isn't learning on the job, right? Who's the most experienced guy we've had. And I think at the end of the day, we've got to sell his age, not just as a liability, but also as an asset. I think Joe Biden has been a successful president because of his age and his experience, not in spite of it. And we shouldn't run away from it as Democrats. We got to lean into it, I think.
The new piece is up on NBCnews.com. It's titled, Biden's 2024 chances are much stronger than people realize. A guy who's been right about a lot of these elections over the last several years. Democratic strategist Simon Rosenberg. Simon, thanks so much and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, Willie.